Hi y'all, this is House Guest and I am your host, Kenzie Elizabeth. Think a Gen Z wannabe Martha Stewart meets Dolly Parton trying to live in a Nancy Meyers movie in her 20s. We talk all about life, relationships, navigating your 20s, closing out the bars, or waking up at 5 a.m. depending on our vibe that week. Ultimately, living our best lives and figuring it out along the way. So come hang out. Sometimes I have guests on who do really cool things, some of my best friends, or it's just me and my house that I spend way too much time in. So let's get into the show. Hi y'all, I am so happy to be catching up with you guys today, talking to my girls, my guys. I feel like there's maybe one male that listens to this podcast, but I'm grateful for that one male, okay? And if you guys are not watching on YouTube, you need to be watching on YouTube. This podcast is better on YouTube. The video, so cute. The facial expression's amazing. I talk with my hands. I'm a hand talker, all right? I also always have like a cute little drink. It's like a whole vibe. Anyways, I'm actually in my office today, which is a rare sight, I'll say. Where do you guys work from home? I feel like most of you guys work from home. And where do you work? We're actually going to do a poll on the Instagram. I'm curious. I am a dining room table worker. Most recently, I have been so down bad, I have not made it off the couch working. The couch is my least productive space. If I'm ranking like where I work best, it goes dining room table, bed, hell, and then the couch. Like, that's how I feel, okay? I cannot get anything done. I've just been in a very bad funk. Well, I don't know if you would call this year a funk. I think I've just been very, like, severely depressed, and I'm going through a lot, and I've decided that September is the new January, okay? And it kind of is. Like, I miss when we were kids, and we would go back to school in the fall, and I loved how that felt like the mark of a new year. And obviously, it was a new, school year, but I want it to be a new year entirely. Also, I would argue that starting a new year in September is better anyways for a multitude of reasons, okay? It's the best time of the year. When you get to September, you're up on football season, which means then Halloween's coming, which means Thanksgiving's coming, which then means Christmas is coming. You have so much to look forward to. It's really amazing. I think that October specifically is one of the best months because you have so much to look forward to, whereas I would always rather be in December because I'm such a Christmas girl. It just means that Christmas is ending soon. So anyways, I do think there is a good argument for our year to start in September, and it's okay if maybe the world isn't going to absorb it. You and I will, okay? You and I, we see eye to eye. That's how I feel about my House Guest podcast listeners. My girl is my guy, my singular guy. I'm just grateful for you guys. And I did talk about this on TikTok, how I was doing a little huge reset this past week. I vlogged my week in my life and I put it on my YouTube channel, Kenzie Elizabeth. Go subscribe, check it out if you guys haven't watched it. I'm actually curious how many of you guys have never watched my YouTube channel. I know there's definitely a divide between the YouTube channel and the podcast. Like, so many people found me from my podcast. But yeah, I do post weekly vlogs. Anyways, I'm not trying to like shamelessly self-promote. I'm shamefully doing it a little bit right now, but I just did an entire video that went up on Sunday of a whole like life reset. And I kind of just talked through like what I'm trying to do, which we're going to get really detailed on today's episode. So for those of y'all who need a little reset, maybe you too are having a really hard year, maybe you're going through a breakup or you're just in a funk or you just need a little bit of motivation after the summer, after maybe you've had one too many Aperol spritzes. We've all been there. Listen, I get it. I really do. I've had to switch to non-alcoholic Aperol spritzes. Like, that's how many I was having. So anyways, I'm really excited about today's episode. It feels good. It feels like the mark of something new, something fresh, if you will, okay? September is the new January. Say it with me, y'all. September is the new January. Also, I'm thinking about switching up the podcast to being like mainly solo episodes. The issue is that I either have so much to say or nothing at all. I will go mute for weeks on end, and then there will come that 1 week, and I will not shut up. And I say enough during that 1 week to last me 3 years, if I'm being honest with you. So it's a little risky, but I've been sharing a lot of just like random thoughts. Every time I say thoughts, like THOUGHTS, I think thoughts like THOTS now, so that's good. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes on the podcast, like I don't want to come across as like, I think the word would be preachy, like too preachy. I personally am like super into like self-development. I like just like thoughts about life, if you will. I like learning, I like growing, all that stuff. And I've been sharing some just things that I've been thinking, which would also be thoughts, but I'm trying to avoid the word, lessons that I've learned, random things like that on TikTok recently, and people have been really liking it. Or at least the people in the comments. So anyways, I'm thinking about doing a lot more solo podcast episodes, and I don't know, let me know what you guys think. I definitely do still want to have guests and do like Kenzie and Friends episodes, obviously. Just some food for thought for you guys, okay? Now listen, we're essentially doing a little mid-year reset. I'm not gonna go super into detail on goal setting because that will make me it'll make me go into cardiac arrest, okay? This has been, like I said, a very bad year for me. I went into January with so many hopes, so many dreams, and then had the absolute worst month of my entire life, and it's been the hardest year ever. So I'm not gonna like go into that, whatever. But I personally, for me, myself, and I'm not going to be looking back at what I wanted for this year. I have a little bit, and I do have a lot of goals and stuff for a friend of mine. That's like been the one thing that's actually been keeping up this year, which has been good. I could do a whole episode on goal setting, like detailed and stuff too. So we're going to touch on that. But mainly what I want to talk about today is that we're building a life and not just a career, right? We're building a 360 life from all angles. I want you guys to listen to this podcast and feel fulfilled, or listen to this podcast and think more about the actual life that you're living, the relationships that you have, the relationship you have with yourself, being happy overall. And your career is a huge part of that, in my opinion. I do think so, because if you have a career, you spend so much of your time working, but there is a lot more outside of that. So we're going at this from a huge 360 angle. We're creating the life that you want to live. And since September is the new January, what a better way than to start with a little refresh, okay? I do want to say this isn't all overnight. I've spent the past week doing this little reset at home, and I still have so many other random things that I need to do. So we're kind of just going to go all over the place. This is, like I said, the best time of the year, okay? We are resetting. We are building confidence. We are relying on discipline and not motivation. I think motivation is honestly a privilege that you get through discipline more often than not. And also, I'll leave you with my last, Kenzieism. Even though I've stolen every single one of these that I have, I've never created one of them on my own. I picked them up from different places from time to time, okay? Fail to plan, plan to fail. Say it with me, people. Fail to plan, plan to fail. We almost need a glossary of all the things I've said on this podcast a billion times. The first one that comes to mind would be Ed Milet's quote. That's one I know where it came from, okay? Confidence is built by making promises to yourself and keeping them. And in this new season, where we are resetting, we're refreshing, we're creating a life that we want to live, we should remember that quote, because I think it's really easy to actually do that in the form of a routine. Every single morning, if you make a morning routine, even if there's 2 things, every morning you're waking up and you are making a promise to yourself and you're keeping it by following through. So anyways, that is really a complete side note, but I feel like the podcast is built off the back of that quote at this point. Seriously. Okay, I want to do new fun stuff for a little refresh. We're going through style, music, TV shows, meals, little routine, okay? Style. Listen, I am maturing. I am trying to have my little Sophia Richie era. I have been working with my friend Jack, who's a stylist. If you guys watch my YouTube videos or my TikToks or Instagrams, you guys will have seen her. She's amazing. Definitely follow her, actually, if you guys are kind of on the same page as me. But I am wanting to just feel older. I'm 27 now, okay? Which is actually crazy, when I think about that. The other day, made a reference to when I was a kid, and then as I was typing that, I realized, I'm literally 27 years old. I'm so far from being a kid. It actually makes you want to cry. I can't even think about it, because I feel like we're doing great this solo episode. It's kind of crazy because I know I'm talking to myself, but I do kind of feel like I'm talking to you guys. Anyways, the new style, Pinterest is your best friend, okay? My Sophia Richie era, I have all these outfits that I'm excited to wear every single day. And here's the thing about style. For me, personally, it's a very creative, guys, what is the word I'm looking for? Please comment on my Instagram what the word I'm looking for. Creative endeavor. There's a different word that I'm looking for. I don't know. My brain only half works these days. Anyways, it gets my creative juices flowing, okay? I loved, for example, all of my outfits that I wore in London, and it made me that much more excited for the trip, which is insane, because how could you be more excited than you already are for going to London? You know what I mean? London's the best. A cute outfit just gives me the will to live at the end of the day. I really think that that's what it comes down to. It makes me happy. It brings me joy. It makes me feel good about myself. And it's something that I want to be focusing on in the new year that is September of 2024, okay? I feel really good about it. And I'm maturing. I'm evolving. I'll be wearing loafers, basically. I'm not going to change like that much of my outfit. Like I'm definitely wearing a lot less. I don't want to name names because I do like certain clothes from them, but I'm not wearing like a lot of like Instagram boutique-y stuff. I'm wearing like Madewell, Everlane, Reformation. I'm living and breathing Reformation right now. And I would be actually sleeping in it too if it wasn't $400 for a dress, okay? But it's the best clothes ever. So anyways, I'm using my clothing as a way to express myself. And I feel like I'm doing that subconsciously in a lot of different areas of my life. Like obviously I've always done it with home design. I'm trying to redo my living room right now, and that's like a whole thing. My garden feels very creative for me. Cooking feels very creative for me. Like I like having different activities that I can be creative in. It's very fulfilling to me. And it also, I feel like it makes my brain work. So I'm not just bored, right? And I'm also not just letting life happen to me. Something that I actually really want to do, which I did this as a kid every single day. You guys will not be surprised literally at all. But every single day, from the time I was literally in kindergarten, I'm not kidding, you guys can ask my parents, to the time I graduated college, I'm pretty sure I did this in college. Yeah, I did. The time I graduated college, I laid out my outfit the night before. Every single night. I was also student president. Okay, that's not surprising. But I do have to say that with a little caveat. I was a student body president of my class, not of the school. And I did that. You have to put yourself in positions of power so that you don't have to really do much. You just tell everyone else what to do. I also went to court for truancy. Like, I was not this amazing thing. I just really worked the system, you know? I really want to get back to that this fall. I have my clothing rack, which I'm constantly putting outfits on for like future upcoming trips. But I want to have my outfits weekly laid out on that so I don't even have to think about it. And then it makes me actually get ready in the morning, because what ends up happening is I go work out, I come home, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I don't want to pick out an outfit. I try to pick out an outfit, I can't think about what I want to wear. It gets stressful. It's like another thing. It's decision fatigue. So then I end up just putting on sweats, and then I end up on the couch, okay? And the couch is the devil, as we've talked about. I can't end up on that couch anymore. I seriously have got to get off of it. So I will be laying out cute outfits that I like to wear, that make me feel good, that make me feel creative and more myself. Hopefully the Sunday before. The Sunday before. So then I will have my outfits ready to go, and it's one less decision to make in the morning, which is a huge, huge, huge benefit to your morning routine. So that is one thing. Number 2, new music. Hello, fall playlist. Duh. I have been listening to a John Mayer, Noah Kahan playlist literally nonstop. What else have I been listening to? I've been like back on my fall playlist jam. That has been what I've been listening to, and it's been making me very happy. I had like worship music on the other day, and it started playing like Christian worship music, and I was like, wait, honestly, this is a good vibe. Like, kind of like the beat. Like, I'm kind of into this one. And it was Christmas music, so I felt like it was okay because, you know, it was Christian, you know? So I felt fine about listening to that in August. I really did. I also watch The Holiday year round and like Elf and, you know, whatever. So don't take it from me. But I've been listening to a lot of music that just makes me feel cozy and at peace and at home. I love to listen to that every single fall, okay? John Mayer screams fall to me. It reminds me of when I was driving home from high school, the windows down, the weather was so nice. I was going home before going to a football game. It's amazing. It all comes back to football, but you have to understand that I grew up in Texas, so like it's less of I'm like, oh my God, like football. I mean, even though I do love it, it's more of like that was literally everything. Like literally, it still is. Like that is everything. Also, side note, guys, having like Taylor Swift date Travis Kelce has been one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, first off. Second off, the Kelce brothers just signed a $100 million deal with Wondery for their podcast, which is insane. But it's actually been great because I grew up watching sports with my dad. Like, that's what we always bonded over. Growing up, like, we would do flashcards, and it was never, like, ABC 1, 2, 3. It was, like, Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys. Like, he's a sports fanatic. And now my dad and I just send each other, like, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce stuff back and forth all the time on Instagram. And that's really sweet. So I do love that. So anyways, fall playlist. A new TV show. I think a new TV show is good for your reset. You guys might be shocked hearing this from me because I don't watch new TV shows ever. I like to rewatch things, and even then my attention span is just shot from YouTube, I think. But I will always rewatch One Tree Hill and Gilmore Girls in the fall. Those are my background shows. Now, the show that I'm actually watching right now is Designated Survivor. This past weekend, I watched almost the entire first season. And then I found out one of the actors, he plays, I think his name's Aaron in the show. He passed away in January. So that made me want to sob, literally ruined my entire fucking day. But it is an amazing show. It's about the designated survivor who I think he's in Congress. Basically, when they're doing like a State of the Union or something that everyone is in, like a meeting that everyone is in, they will have one person have to like stay back just in case, knock on wood, something happens. So that person would survive if everyone else were to perish. That's what happens. This random guy who's over like urban development ends up taking over and becomes president. It's so good. I love anything like presidential. I love US history. Like I'm just so fascinated by that stuff. Like I love like learning about like the Kennedy lore. Like I love all that stuff. So anyways, really good show. That's what I've been watching. Another thing that has been kind of more under the fun little refresh stuff is I've wanted good, easy go-to lunches that are high protein, because eating high protein, it makes me feel like $1,000,000. It makes me feel so good. Like it helps so much with my midday slumps, like my crashes. I just feel actually satiated. I'm so all about the protein thing. I've been talking about that for a while. And you would have seen this if you guys watched YouTube videos. Do you guys notice sometimes when I say that, like if you guys watch YouTube videos, it sounds like I'm geriatric. Like if you watch the YouTube videos, like I don't know, something about that. Anyways, this past week I tried out a new protein bowl. So it's just, of course, ButcherBox beef, ground beef. I am the biggest ButcherBox girl ever. This isn't an ad. I don't work with them in any capacity, unfortunately, but I love ButcherBox. I like get their ground bison. I get everything from ButcherBox. But anyways, ButcherBox ground beef, and then I do zucchini, onions, sauerkraut, and avocado, and then I add in coconut aminos, and it is so good. It's really healthy. You can prep it so easily. It sounds really boring. It is kind of boring, honestly, but it's really easy and it's a go-to meal that I know I will recreate all the time. Here's the thing when it comes to like new meals, okay? You have to know when you're cooking, if you're cooking for like the full experience, if you're cooking to potentially add that into your rotation, okay? The things that you're gonna add into your rotation need to be very simple and easy to make, because if you're making them day to day, you don't have the time that you would for when you're planning to cook for an experience, when you're doing this whole big recipe and it's this whole ordeal, right? So you need to do things that have like 4 ingredients basically, and don't overcomplicate it, because that is when you will get frustrated. It'll become like too much work, too much of a cleanup, and then you're not going to stick with it. It's like when you start working out, you need to find a workout that you like so you stick with it. You need to find recipes like that are so simple that you're going to stick with it, and then ultimately that will lead you to other things. But having like really simple basic ones for lunch for me, because I work from home, life-changing. And then I added a little morning routine in here. I don't need a new morning routine. I'm such a morning routine girl. And if anything, I feel like my morning routine is relatively new, even though I've been running for months now. But guys, I ran 6 miles. Isn't that crazy? I'm running a 10K like this upcoming weekend, I think. Actually, when this episode is up, I believe I'm running a 10K this upcoming weekend. Isn't that crazy? But anyways, my morning routine is like I wake up, I get up, I go run. Sometimes I go weightlifting depending on the day. I make my like I don't need a new morning routine. This is like relatively new for me. I've been incorporating doing a little daily reading and daily journal practice every morning, which is something that I've like preached and talked about for so long, but I feel like I kind of got off track. I've been back lately. Some books that I would recommend. People really like The Daily Stoic. People love the one that I like love and I swear by. It's called Draw the Circle by Mark Batterson. It's a 40-day prayer challenge. So it's a Christian one, so take that with what you will. But I love that book. I feel like it's one that has just like expanded my mind so much. So I really love that. Just 3 simple pages typically in the morning, doing a little journal practice, whether it's morning pages or you're writing out your prayers, your manifestations, or whatever it is. That always starts me out on the right foot. So I really love that. Okay, things we're gonna stop doing. By we, I mean me, but I'm just like adding you guys in this, okay? Mindless scrolling. My anxiety when I'm mindlessly scrolling is through the roof. And then as I'm mindlessly scrolling, I'm so anxious and I'm thinking about like, I know the fact that I'm anxious is because I'm on my phone, but I'm like an addict. I can't just turn it off. It will take me like 2 hours sometimes at night to get off my phone. It's so bad. So no more mindless scrolling. That doesn't mean it has to be overnight, but I'm trying to incorporate better things. I think this has also partially been worse because I've been in a really severe book rut, guys. I'm in a severe book rut. So if y'all have good book recs for the fall, like please send them my way. My issue is that it's like right now, it's very similar to when you're hungry, but nothing sounds good. That's how I feel with reading. Like I want to read something, but nothing sounds good. I'm not really in a thriller mood. I'm not in a romance mood. I'm not in a fantasy mood. I'm not even in a nonfiction mood. So I really don't know where to go from here, but I need good book recs. I am in potentially the most severe book rut of my entire life, I would say. So anyways, I think that has only made my mindless scrolling worse. Another thing we're gonna stop doing is thinking small, freaking out. I could do an entire solo podcast episode on big thinkers versus small thinkers. I made a TikTok about this recently, if this sounds like deja vu, but the world is essentially divided into two groups of people, big thinkers versus small thinkers. Big thinkers makes everyone's world around them bigger. They're thinking big picture. They're not sitting around gossiping. Small thinkers, they're very insecure. Grass is always greener. They're very negative. Big gossipers, big thinkers are people who are saying your name in a room that would benefit you, are holding everything with an open hand, see everyone's win is their win. Like there's just two types of people, and it's a big thinker, a small thinker. Okay, I really should do an entire solo podcast episode on this. I need to write like a dissertation on it, essentially. Another thing is just putting energy into the wrong things, whether that be the wrong relationship, the wrong job, the wrong thought process, the wrong habits, the wrong daily routines. Like we're gonna peel back that wrong energy. Okay, we're taking it back. Okay, so how to reset for the new year, otherwise known as September, here at House Guest Podcast. Number one, create a new workspace. I am a visual girl. I need to see things, which is why I bought that massive corkboard whiteboard thing, because I need everything up there. With a friend of mine, which is my home lifestyle brand, by the way, we have so many launches. We have so many things coming up just in Q4, honestly. It's a very busy time for us. And I was getting a little bit overwhelmed, even though everything's planned out on my laptop. I was like, I just need to see it. So I'm going to print everything out so I can see it visually. And it's just going to be so nice for me. I also think it's an amazing practice for like vision boards and stuff to see it every single day. I just need to be able to see a board, have everything laid out. Now, like I said, I needed to get off the couch because the couch was becoming the devil in my life. I couldn't even be on the dining table because you know what happens when I was sitting on the dining table? I was ending up sitting on the couch. So I brought myself into the office and I needed a big table. So I brought this big ugly table. I put an ugly tablecloth on it. I'm just kidding. The tablecloth's fine, but the table really is ugly. And everyone on TikTok said that too, so don't be mad at me. You guys, if you saw it, you would agree. And just creating this new workspace has re-inspired me and gotten me really excited for the work that I'm doing. So it's so small, but it actually does make a really big difference. Now, this one practice alone has alleviated majority of my stress, and it is creating a 30-60-90. I learned this in my college internship. It's so helpful. I feel like a lot of the time we will look at the year and it's just too overwhelming and we're too big picture. We're not getting into the details. We're not getting things done. With a 30-60-90, it's really nice because you can see what you have coming 30 days out, 60 days out, and 90 days out. Okay, so I'm pulling mine up right now. I put launches, like dinners that I'm hosting, parties that I'm hosting, photo shoots that we have, like the 10K, dinners that I need to attend, editors' dinners that I'm hosting, cooking classes that I'm hosting, launches that I have, basically like the big things on the calendar. Now, I didn't do it with like the podcast schedule. Maybe I should do it with that. That's just not really how my brain works that way. But it's really amazing because having this laid out and seeing this like daily, it clarifies what you're working for. So it's really easy. And then you're able to create like actionable steps. That has been the most beneficial thing. That might have been the most beneficial thing I actually got out of my college experience completely. And the good thing about this new year that we're having is that it's actually only 4 months, okay? So 30-60-90 is great. Just get super clear on what you want and the things that you need to get done. You will just get so much more done. I feel like we waste so much time just trying to be busy versus actually being productive and using our time wisely. And a 30-60-90 has really helped me to do that. This is a little thing, but light a new candle for joy and play your fall playlist. You need that, okay? You need to feel like the newness of that. Like when I smell a fall candle, It brings me joy. When I hear John Mayer, it feels new and it inspires me. Okay, sue me, sorry. This next one is gonna feel a little painful, but clear your email inbox and respond to every message that you have in your text. I haven't replied to most of my texts, I have to be honest with you. But if you are listening to this right now, clear your email inbox. Reply to all of the emails, because whether or not you realize it, it's still taking up brain space as something you need to get done. And it's like, once you do that and you get ahead and you're done, it's so refreshing. Like, getting ahead of your email inbox, I mean, there's just like nothing like it. So that's a small thing to get ahead on because it's just actually like weighing on your mind. The next thing I would say is get ahead on big projects that are also weighing on your mind. For example, we have 3 really major shoots, a friend of mine, in the next 2 months. And I knew what I was doing for them. I had mood boards, I had all the things, but I didn't have like our call sheet. I didn't have it all in one deck, right? So I went through, we have 3 months for the other shoots, but I went through and I finished, or I'm in the process, I'm almost done. I finished basically all of the decks. So I have them, they're done, they're good to go. That's not necessarily something I even had to have finished at this moment in time, but it was something that I constantly was thinking like, oh, I need to get that done. I need to get that done if I have time. I need to get that done. And it was just weighing on me and I didn't want to think about it anymore. So I got it done. Those are things that I actually really enjoy doing too. And I feel amazing. Create 3 tangible, achievable goals for the end of the year. Make this personal, business, and hobby related. And then make a system. A goal without a system is just a wish, okay? My personal goal, run a 10K. My business goal, I have a lot of things that I want to do for a friend of mine. Also, I really want to like knock it out of the park with the remainder of this year's podcast episodes. Like, I'm so excited about that. Oh, I guess hobby related, maybe that would have been the run at 10K. Personal related is I want to finish my wellness garage. I actually forgot, I did write that down. I really need an ice cold plunge. I need a cold plunge so desperately so I can finish my wellness garage, and it's going to be amazing. And we're going to have our wellness Saturdays this fall. We're going to go run in the morning. We're going to go get smoothies, sauna, cold plunge, do all the things, make breakfast on the Blackstone outside. Like, I need that. And that's something that I've been wanting to do for so long. So that is like my personal goal, and I can do that. Okay. Next thing you're gonna do is create a morning routine that you're excited for, okay? And I will preface this by saying you're not gonna wanna wake up every single morning. I don't wanna wake up pretty much ever when I wake up early in the morning, literally ever. There's maybe one morning every 6 months that I like jump out of bed excited. You just have to rely on discipline for that one. Once you're up, you're glad that you're up, but the initial wake up, like no one wants to wake up. Number 8, I put this at the bottom just because this is technically a September reset, but create a vision and mood board for your overall life, okay? I didn't have to do this for September just because I'm constantly doing this. It's like my favorite hobby thing to do, my pastime. But if you don't have one right now, you definitely need one. I think it's really important. Something that Shelby Sacco did and shared on this podcast when she was on like a year or 2 ago was that she created a morning routine. She actually printed it out, framed it, and put it in her bathroom of like, I wake up at 5 a.m. I go work out at 6 a.m. I journal at 6:30 or whatever it was. I mean, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. But I thought that was also a really smart idea, and I think it's definitely worth it if you're trying to get into like the routine of everything. So that is it for our September is a new January mid-year reset podcast episode. That is how I personally reset for the new year. I'm very excited for the other projects that I have coming up, but basically I wanted to just kind of get ahead of everything, get everything organized, lined up, so that next week I can actually organize. Like next week, I am planting all of my new fall plants in my garden. I am doing an entire crazy closet clean out. I think I'm going to film it for YouTube, where I'm going to be planning out my outfits for fall. So we're going to be going into like my more mature style, organizing and transitioning my closet actually into my fall and winter clothes. I am dressing for the weather that I want, not the weather that I have. And that is the most important piece of advice that you maybe have gotten throughout this entire podcast in the past 5 years in its whole entirety. This week was more mental, more emotional, more spiritual. Okay, just kind of like getting in the zone, clearing your mind. Next week for me is gonna be more physical, like doing all the projects around my house, getting all that stuff done because I'm now inspired because I just did a little reset. I believe that there are so many good things coming for you and I, my podcast listener, listening on the other side of the phone. I love y'all so much. I do just want to take a second. Like, you guys don't understand how much you have gotten me through this year. Like, the messages, even like recently, I've just been seeing a lot of like TikToks, people talking about house guests and like how it's impacted them, or like their favorite episodes, or things that they thought were funny, or like a little edit or something. And like, it genuinely brings tears to my eyes. Like, I am just so grateful for y'all, and you guys have helped me so much just in like my hardest time of my darkest days, if you will. And I love you guys. I'm so grateful. Like, you guys are just the best ever. So I want to make the episodes that you guys want me to make. If you want solos, let me know. If you want guests, let me know. I will do it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love y'all. Subscribe on YouTube and leave a nice rating and review. Love you guys. Bye.